We started as a family generations ago, back in the 1830s when our family came from Germany. And our family, my generation, lived and farmed down by Washington, Missouri, which is about 50 miles west of St. Louis. Urban encroachment kind of claimed our farm. It was right on the city limits of Washington. So we found this piece of property up here in Callaway County and purchased it back in 1994. When we first bought the farm, it was very, very depleted. We were actually told by some of the locals that they weren't interested in the farm for purchasing it because they thought it was pretty well ruined. So we immediately started a lot of conservation practices on the farm, started putting a hog facility on the farm, and moved our families up here in 1998.
Since then, we increased the row crop acres and doubled up the sow operation once again to where we're currently farming about 4,200 acres, and we have about 2,800 sows that we owned all the way from farrow to finish.
Our dad played a big part in us being a steward of the land. He's the one who, started about 30 years ago, was whenever they started doing a no-till practice in Washington, Missouri. And we moved that up here, that same practice up here to where we're at now.
We started doing a lot of our own conservation work as far as terraces and waterways and tile, but it still wasn't quite enough to knock out all the erosion. In the past 5 years, we switched over to cover crop in an effort to help conserve the soil and build up our soil health and maintain the soil structure to boost our yields, because the soils in our area are very prone to erosion and drought. So anything we can do to help increase the soil structure and the water holding capabilities is really in our favor. We also take the manure from our hog operation, and we have it in a lagoon, and we pump it through 3 center pivots, and we use that fertilizer on our corn and bean ground. It's kind of a turnkey operation where we use the manure to raise a crop that we then feed to the hogs, and then the manure that comes from those hogs we use as fertilizer to grow our next crop. So when it comes to a full circle operation, it fits the bill quite well.
Our family's been raising hogs for a long time. We originally started out with hogs out on open ground in little A houses. Hogs are really rough on the ground. Whenever you have them out on ground, they'll root up the ground. The water runs down into the ditch and you have a lot of pollution that way. So with these modern buildings, it allows us to control the manure. It's a lot nicer environment for the pigs. We can keep it the temperature that they like. Every change and update that we've done has been for the improvement of the life of the hog, so that they can have a more comfortable environment and better for the environment as well.
These practices that we implemented really help our bottom line, and it really helps cut down on the cost of production, as well as it's really been helping us increase our yields. From time to time, we have people ask us how we do our practices, stuff like that, and we're always very, as most farmers are, very open to help other farmers.
On multiple occasions, we've had groups from other countries come out to our farm to see how we do some of our practices. And that's usually set up through NRCS or similar groups like that have the contacts with those people. And they'll come out to see what sort of sustainable farming practices we're doing here in the United States to try to take back to their countries. Every system is different, so they might not be able to employ our exact practices in their situation, but they may be able to learn a little bit of how we do things so they can experiment in their own systems to see what works for them.
Our passion for farming probably is just what you call bred into us. Our family's farmed for the last 150 to 200 years. And it's just always something I grew up with and I really love to do.
Ever since I was little, I always thought I was following my dad around and helping, when in turn it turns out I was probably just getting in the way. But he was always willing and eager to have me come along with him. And that just instilled a love for farming in me that I still own to this day.
We're very blessed. We've got all of our children that came back in our family and farm with us now. So whenever we do anything, it's always with family. The kids will want to come out and ride in the tractor cab. They'll want to ride in the sprayer. They'll want to ride in the grain cart. And it's just ability to work together as family and do something. And the idea that we're trying to build up our natural resources and preserve everything for the next generation, for generations to come.